So last year I saw Star Wars The Last But Not Really Jedi, and it was good, but there's a lot of problems that make it not as good as The Force Awakens. And I don't blame the director for some of the weird choices that were made in this film, I blame the studios, because it seems like they were the ones trying to cram in all this stupid stuff to make it appeal to wider audiences. For example, these annoying penguin things that are supposed to be cute are only in there to sell toys and appeal to kids. But before I get into spoiler territory, I will give credit where credit is due, because I did really enjoy this film. The movie as a whole is very visually pleasing, the acting for the most part is pretty good, and there are a lot of genuinely good scenes which will be quite memorable. But for every good scene, there was one that was either stupid or completely pointless. For example, when Chewie's eating some chicken and the penguin things come up to him and like, give us some of the chicken, mate, and he's like, no, and then they start acting really cute, and then everyone in the cinema started laughing, like, really? Do people still find this overused joke funny? And this was what I found to be one of the biggest problems with this film. It's tonally inconsistent. The film jumps from being really dark and violent to kid-friendly and comedic, and it ruins the scenes that you're supposed to take seriously. And I know Star Wars is supposed to be cheesy, dumb fun, but how am I supposed to take these characters and this story seriously if you insert random jokes that aren't funny? And by the time I'd realised this, characters started spilling out one-liners left and right, and I was sat there in the theatre like, why? What have I done to deserve this? Anyway, I'm going to talk about spoilers now, so if you haven't seen the movie already, go and watch it and then come back, or something. There's your warning. So I know it's a bit unfair to judge a movie based off its opening shots, but the opening shot of this film was a bit what? So it starts out with the usual Star Wars pan down onto a planet, and then we zoom into these aerial things, and for a second it seems like the camera is a character in a spaceship, and it seems like they're gonna fly through these aerials like a tunnel, but then they do that for 2 seconds and then they cut. Okay. It was just such a weird editing choice to me because it kind of reflected how the rest of the film would play out from there. The scene where Leia used the Force to get back onto the ship was weird. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. How they all didn't get sucked out into space when they opened the airlock is kind of funny, but maybe their technology is just really advanced or something. The character dynamic between Luke, Kylo and Rey was what I found to be the most interesting thing about the film. I mean, I know that was what the movie was focusing on for the most part, but it was genuinely enjoyable to watch. If anything, the second half of this movie is much better than the first, because in the first half of this film, there's not much happening because there are plenty of scenes that could have easily been cut out of this film, which is already 2.5 hours long. And there was one scene in particular that solidified this for me. So we finally meet up with Luke and Rey after what seems like forever, and we get a bunch of scenes showing how Luke survived on the island for many years. But what I didn't expect to see was alien cow tits of all things. So I'm like, okay, this is happening, but no, it gets worse. Much worse. As it's being milked, they don't have this thing act like a normal cow, no. This thing is moaning in pleasure. Yeah. And it was really uncomfortable to watch. Were you guys aware that you were stepping into fetish territory when you were writing this? What have I done to deserve this? I really didn't expect Snoke to die. That was something I didn't see coming. By the way, can we talk about Snoke for a second? Did I miss something? Because we never find out who Snoke really is. Did he just come up out of nowhere? Because he sure isn't Palpatine like I've heard some people say. These films are tied to the original trilogy and not the 3 prequels, which we don't talk about. Anyway, I'm kinda glad that Snoke is gone, because that means we have Kylo, a far more interesting character, as the main confrontation for the next film, which is a nice change. One thing I like about this new trilogy is that it tries to be unpredictable for the most part. I mean, sure, it doesn't work all the time, especially in The Force Awakens where they literally redo A New Hope, but still, I'd take these over the prequels any day. One final thing I want to mention is that did people really not expect Captain Phasmatazmarangue to die? She's one of the most paper-thin characters ever. She used to give Finn orders, and then Finn decided not to take orders from her anymore. That's it. Why did people care so much about this character? But anyway, rant over. If I had to give this movie a rating out of 10, it will probably be a 5, maybe a 6 if I'm feeling generous. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this film. I'll probably go see the next one just because it's gonna be the last one in the new trilogy, man. Only until Disney want more money. Also, what did you think of this film? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And what better way to end off this review and first legitimate video on this channel than with a kazoo cover? God help me.